I've attended a fair share of weddings over the years. Big ones, small ones, fancy ones where everyone wore tuxedos, and laid-back ones with bare feet in the sand. And while most weddings blur together in my memory, there's one that stands out so clearly I swear I could close my eyes and relive every second of it. It was the wedding of Claire and Marcus, two of the kindest, most genuine people I've ever known. They had been together for 7 years by the time they finally said, "I do," and their love had already been through so much: career changes, long-distance stretches, even the loss of loved ones. But through all of it, they held on to each other like lifelines. You could just tell they were meant for forever. The ceremony took place in the garden behind an old white chapel. The sun was shining just enough to feel warm on your skin, and a gentle breeze kept the air cool. Rows of white chairs lined the green grass, and soft music played in the background as guests took their seats. The whole setting felt like something out of a movie: beautiful, peaceful, full of love. Claire walked down the aisle looking like a dream. Her dress flowed like water when she moved, and her smile could have lit up the entire city. But behind that smile, there was something deeper, a kind of emotion she was doing her best to keep steady. Marcus, standing at the end of the aisle in a dark blue suit, couldn't take his eyes off her. You could see his chest rise and fall with every breath, like he was holding back a wave of emotion that might crash at any moment. When they reached the point in the ceremony where they exchanged vows, Marcus went first. He took a deep breath, looked Claire right in the eyes, and began speaking from the heart. He talked about the first time they met at a bookstore, how he offered to buy her coffee even though he didn't drink it. He spoke about the hard days they had pushed through together, when she lost her job, when he got sick, and when her father passed away. He said, "You've been my home in every storm, my light when I couldn't see a way forward. And today, I promise to be that for you too, for as long as I live." By the time he finished, there were already people sniffling in the audience, myself included. Then it was Claire's turn. She reached into the bouquet to pull out a small piece of paper she had tucked in earlier. Her hands were shaking just a little, and when she looked up at Marcus, it seemed like she was ready to speak, until something completely unexpected happened. The best man, Josh, Marcus's childhood friend, stepped forward, holding a folded letter in his hand. At first, everyone looked around, confused. This wasn't part of the plan. The officiant looked at him, unsure whether to stop him or let him speak. Josh cleared his throat and said quietly, "I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's something that needs to be shared before Claire says her vows." Claire turned her head slowly, and when her eyes landed on that letter in his hand, she froze. Josh held it up gently and added, "This is from your dad." Gasps echoed across the garden. Some people immediately reached for tissues. Claire covered her mouth, her eyes already welling with tears. Her father had passed away 3 years earlier, after a long battle with cancer. Everyone knew how close they had been. He was her hero, her protector, her biggest fan. Losing him had shattered her in a way few people truly understood. Josh unfolded the letter with care, and then he started to read, his voice soft but steady. "My sweet Claire, if you're hearing these words, then it means your big day has come. I wish I could be there to hold your hand, to walk you down the aisle, to see the joy on your face as you marry the love of your life. But even though I'm not physically beside you, I want you to know I've never left you. I've been with you through every step, watching over you, proud of the woman you've become." By now, Claire was crying openly. Marcus had stepped beside her, gently wrapping an arm around her back to hold her steady. Josh paused for a moment, blinking hard, before continuing. "Marcus, I don't know you, but I know my daughter, and if she chose you, then you must be a good man. She doesn't give her heart away easily. She's strong, stubborn sometimes, and full of fire. But she's also gentle and kind, and loves with everything she has. I'm trusting you with her heart. Protect it. Be her safe place. And when life gets hard, and it will, remember that love isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, over and over again. There wasn't a single dry eye left. I looked around at the guests. People, clutching their partner's hands, others wiping their faces with tissues. Even the officiant had to take a moment to steady herself. Josh read the final words of the letter. Claire, I'm with you, always. In your laughter, in your tears, in the quiet moments when you need me most. Go live your life, be happy. And know that today, wherever I am, I'm smiling. Because you've found the one. He folded the letter, back up slowly, placed it on the small table near the altar, and quietly stepped back. Claire looked down for a long moment, trying to catch her breath. Then she looked up at Marcus and, with tears running down her cheeks, whispered, "He would have loved you." She took a deep breath and began her vows. They were heartfelt, powerful, and even more emotional now that the letter had been read. She promised to love Marcus without condition, to grow with him, to laugh and cry and dream together. She said, "My dad taught me what love looks like, and today I see that love in you." After they exchanged rings, the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, and the moment they kissed, the whole crowd erupted into applause. It wasn't just clapping. It was a release of all the emotion we had all felt over the last half hour. Joy, sadness, love, all wrapped into one beautiful, unforgettable moment. Later at the reception, the air was lighter, but the feeling from the ceremony still lingered, like a warm presence no one wanted to let go of. People were dancing, laughing, clinking glasses, but even in all the celebration, that letter stayed on everyone's minds. I overheard a few guests at the bar, shaking their heads slowly as they talked about it. One woman said, "I've never seen anything like that. I don't even know this family that well, but it broke me in the best way." Another guest, a man in his 50s, quietly mentioned that he hadn't spoken to his father in years, and that as soon as he got home, he was going to call him. "Life's too short," he said, eyes glistening. That letter reminded me. Even. The DJ, between playing songs, leaned over to me and whispered, "I've done over 200 weddings, but man, that moment, that was different." People passed around tissues and stories. Some shared memories of loved ones they had lost. Others held their children a little tighter, or hugged their parents just a little longer. There was a softness in the room, like everyone had been reminded of what really mattered. And me? I sat, for a while near the back of the room, just watching it all, watching Claire and Marcus move through the crowd, hand in hand, smiling at their guests, their eyes still red from earlier. Watching the way people looked at them, not just like they were a newly married couple, but like they were the beating heart of something bigger that day. A reminder of love's power to stretch beyond time and loss. I kept thinking about Claire's father, about how deeply he must have loved his daughter to write that letter, knowing he wouldn't be around to see her read it. He didn't just leave behind words. He left behind presence, comfort, and the kind of wisdom only a parent can give. He gave her something more than tradition. He gave her a moment no one would forget. And when I finally got up to leave, I didn't feel sad. I felt full. Like my heart had been cracked open just a little wider, and something good had been poured in. That day reminded me of something simple but powerful. Love never dies. It doesn't vanish when someone leaves this world. It lives on, in letters tucked away for years, in memories that sneak up on us when we least expect, and in the way we carry those we've lost forward with us. Claire's father may not have been there in person. He didn't walk her down the aisle or make a toast at the reception. But somehow, through his words, through that one beautiful handwritten letter, he stood beside her in a way that felt just as real. He showed up, and he made sure his daughter didn't walk down that aisle alone.